to the calling of the roll. So move, Mr. Chair.
Is there second to the motion? Duly seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried. We will now proceed to the acknowledgement of members and the recognition of guests, as well as the source person and witnesses. May I request the Secretariat to please recognize our distinguished members and acknowledge resource persons and guests.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we recognize the following House members. Honorable David J.J.C. Suarez, Deputy Speaker from the 2nd District of Quezon. Honorable Francisco Paulo Ortega V from the 1st District of La Union. Honorable Rolando M. Valeriano from the 2nd District of Manila. Honorable Jervil Jinky Beatrix B. Luistro from the 2nd District of Batangas. Honorable Arlene D. Brosas from Gabriela Party List. Honorable Romeo M. Acop, Vice Chairperson from the 2nd District of Antipolo City. Honorable Jefferson F. Conghun, Vice Chairperson from the 1st District of Zambales. Honorable Raul Angelo Jill D. Bongalon from Ako Bicol Party List. Honorable Dan S. Fernandez from the Lone District of Santa Rosa City. Honorable Patrick Michael Vargas from the 5th District of Quezon City. Honorable Yeser Alonto Balindong, Deputy Speaker from the 2nd District of Lanao del Sur. Honorable Franz L. Castro, Deputy Minority Leader from ACT Teachers Party List. Honorable Lawrence R. Defensor, Deputy Majority Leader from the 3rd District of Iloilo. Honorable Joseph Stephen Caraps S. Paduano from Abong Lingkod Party List. Honorable Drixie May S. Cardema from Duterte Youth Party List. Honorable Dordante D. Marcoleta from Sagip Party List. Honorable Ronald V. Singson from the 1st District of Ilocos Sur. Your Honors, may I also recognize the presence of our Sergeant at Arms, Napoleon M. Taas, and our House Secretary General, Honorable Reginald S. Velasco. Moving on to our invited witnesses, resource persons, and guests. From the Office of the Vice President, we have present today Mr. Edward D. Fajarda, with the OVP and former SDO or Special Dispersing Officer of DepEd. Attorney Sunshine Chari A. Fajarda, former Assistant Secretary of DepEd and now with the Office of the Vice President. Mr. Lemuel G. Artonio, Assistant Secretary and Assistant Chief of Staff. Ms. Winnie G. Diego, Chief of Public Assistance Division. Attorney Rosaline L. Sanchez, Director for Administrative and Financial Services. Mr. Norman B. Baloro, Director for Operations Office. Mr. Chris G. Sorongon, Lead Panay and Negros Island Satellite Office. Ms. Regina Rosa D. Texon, Lead Davao Satellite Office. Mr. Alan P. Tanhuacchio, Lead Eastern Visaya Satellite Office. Ms. Gina F. Acosta, Special Disbursing Officer. Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey, Chief Accountant. Mr. Kelvin Jerome L. Tenido, Chief Administrative Officer. Maria Edeline A. Rabago, OIC, Budget Division. May I also request the counsel of the four, Mr. Ortonio, Attorney Fajarda, Mr. Fajarda, and Ms. Gina F. Acosta, to please make your entry of appearance.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, honorable members of this committee. I am Attorney Anel Martin Antero, and I represent Assistant Secretary Lemuel Ortonio and Ms. Gina Acosta. Apart from that, I also represent Attorney Lynn Sanchez and Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey, Your Honors. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the House, Your Honors. I'm Attorney Jocelyn Jeriel Gabriel. I am representing Mr. Edward Fajarda and Attorney Sunshine Fajarda.
Thank you. May I continue with the Office of the Vice President, Attorney Ino Trinidad, Attorney Leandro Resurrección IV, Mr. Chester I. Tajonera, Ms. Maria Rowena M. Corpus, Mr. Ian Christopher M. Cruz, Ms. Kimberly Ann S. Palacio, Ms. Jaira Mara Lagdameo Madrona, Ms. Judesa Salindato. From the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group, may I recognize Colonel Raymond Dante Lachica. May I please request the counsel of Colonel Lachica to please make your entry of appearance.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Your Honors. I'm Attorney James Mark Padrone Ciudadano as entering my appearance as counsel for Colonel La Chica. Thank you.
Thank you. May I recognize Honorable Marie Bernadette G. Escudero from the 1st District of Sorsogon. Moving on to the Commission on Audit, we have here Attorney Gloria A. Camora, Attorney 5 from ICFAO, Ms. Silene May L. Del Campo, State Auditor from ICFAO, Mr. Fahad bin Abdul Mawik Tomawi, State Auditor for OVP, Ms. Zara Jane M. Fagalan, State Auditor, NGAS, Attorney Erwin E. Lapitan, Ms. Imelda G. Celso, Ms. Melinda Estorillo, Ms. Melanie Julie R. Salazar, and Attorney Douglas Michael N. Malilin, Director for ICFAO. For DepEd, we have here present Undersecretary Gerard L. Chan, Undersecretary for Procurement, Retired Major General Nolasco Mempin, former Undersecretary, Brigadier General Noel Baluyan, Attorney Reynold Monsayak, Ms. Maria Teresa Fulgar, Chief Administrative Officer of Procurement, Ms. Cristina G. Altea, Administrative Officer for Contract Management Division, Attorney Michael Wesley T. Poa, former spokesperson and head of procuring entity, Mr. Janier T. Datukan, Assistant Secretary for Curriculum and Teaching, Ms. Nerys Ann B. Casitas, Attorney Thea Jane Merin. From the Bureau of Immigration, Attorney Vicente G. Oncad. From the Land Bank, Assistant Vice President Nenita Camposano, Ms. Jean Abaya, Acting Department Manager of the Shaw Boulevard Branch, Ms. Prince Queen Star B. Andal, Teller, Shaw Boulevard Branch, Ms. Joji Gamay, Teller for the DepEd Branch, Mr. Crisanto Lorena, Guard for the DepEd Branch, Ms. Violeta Constantino, former Branch Manager and retired of the Shaw Boulevard Branch, and Mr. Nino Bora, Head Guard. May I also recognize, Your Honor, Honorable Micaela Angela B. Swansing from the 1st District of Nueva Ecija. That is it. If there are any resource persons who have not been recognized, please go to the mic and recognize yourself and include your agency and designation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Comsec. We will now proceed to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Moving on, we have the minutes of the November 11, 2024 meeting. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Congressman Acop.
may I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting and consider it as approved? So moved, Mr. Chair. Again.
Is there any second to the motion? Duly seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
Your Honor, may I also request the counsel of Mr. Kelvin Tenido to please make your entry of appearance.
Counsel?
Good morning, Your Honors. I am Attorney Catherine Nicolsi, representing Kelvin Tenido and Edeline Rabosga. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you. Moving on.
Mr. Chair,
Congressman Marcoleta.
may I respectfully seek guidance from the Chair?
Yes, please.
Earlier, Mr. Chair, my staff, I instructed my staff to include my name in the list of interpellators, and the COMSEC said that it is not possible that my name be included. She was asked whether there is some basis for this in our rules. What is the basis of the COMSEC's answer, Mr. Chair?
I will include you, Congressman Marcoleta. Don't
Thank
worry.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Magandang umaga po sa lahat. Before we continue with our inquiry, nais ko po balikan ng kaunti ang mga pangyayari mula sa ating huling pagrinig dito noong nakaraang araw. Maalala po natin na sa ating nakaraang hearing, nagkaroon po ng resolusyon ng ating committee na patawan ng contempt si Attorney Zulaika T. Lopez, Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President. on the ground po that she has unduly interfered with the conduct of these proceedings. While Attorney Lopez presented herself as respectful or courteous, nakita po ng committee na ang kanyang mga sagot at mga pagkilos mula nang mag-umpisa ang inquiry na to ay evasive, uncooperative, and untruthful. Ang suma total at kabuuan ng kanyang mga acts and responses ultimately convinced the committee that Attorney Lopez was guilty of interfering in and frustrating Congress' exercise of its power of legislative inquiry. Halimbawa, isolated incident. Isolated incident lang raw ang kanyang pagtanggal kay Yusek Gloria Mercado sa DepEd. Subalit napaamin rin siya kalaunan na may mga iba pa siyang mga tinanggal na opisyal sa DepEd kahit na hindi siya opisyal nito. Paulit-ulit din pong sinasabi ni Attorney Lopez na wala siyang alam sa utilization ng confi funds ng OVP. Paulit-ulit ito na sagot, subalit may mga dokumento at ebidensya kagaya na lamang ng mga sulat sa COA at testimonya mismo ng iba pa nating resource persons na nagtuturo kay Attorney Lopez bilang involved hindi lang sa pag-request ng confidential funds, kundi pati na rin sa utilization at liquidation nito. Inamin ni Attorney Lopez na sila ng kanyang assistant COS na si Limuel Ortonio ang nakalagda sa sulat ng COA patungkol sa liquidation ng confidential funds. Inamin niya rin na nag-issue siya ng isa pang sulat na tinatangkang pigilin ang COA sa pag-comply ng isang sabpina mula sa... Tignan po ang totality of Attorney Lopez Acts. Malinaw na mayroong clear, persistent, and willful attempt to interfere, frustrate, and defeat the inquiry undertaken by the committee. At dahil dito, ay nahatulan siya ng contempt under Section 11F of our Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of Ngunit, it seems na ginamit ang pagkakataon na ito upang i-distract at i-divert ang atensyon ng publiko palihis sa mga issue na tinatalakay natin. Mula Miyerkules hanggang Linggo, wala po tayong narinig na kahit na ano pang pagtugon sa mga findings noong nakaraang Sadya pong pilit na ang mga tanong ng taong bayan ukol sa magkaibang pirma ni Kokoy Villamin mula sa acknowledgement receipts ng DepEd at OVP, pati na rin sa mala Superman na paglipad ni Edward Pafarda sa 27 lugar sa Pilipinas sa loob lamang ng isang araw. Imbis na sagutin ang ating mga katanungan, ay nag-stage po ng malasige sa loob ng Kongreso at nagpaunlak ng kung ano-anong kwento ukol sa pag-detain kay Attorney Lopez. Let me set the record straight. After Attorney Lopez was taken into custody by our Sergeant-at-Arms, madami po tayong in-extend na concession sa kanya at sa Vice Presidente. Humingi sila ng extension sa visiting hours kay Attorney Lopez. Pinagbigyan po natin. Kahit lagpas alas 7 ng gabi, dumating ang Vice Presidente noong Huwebes. Hinayaan po natin bumisita kahit hindi na visiting hours. Noong sinabi nila na may medical concern raw si Attorney Lopez, pinatingnan po natin ito kaagad sa medical director ng Kongreso para ma-ensure na physically stable si Attorney Lopez. Nung nag-request si Attorney Lopez na payagan siyang umattend sa kanyang physical therapy session para sa frozen shoulder, pumayag po tayo. Sabi natin, tayo ng schedule nito at sasamahan siya ng security personnel under kay Sergeant at Arms. Nag-request ulit si Attorney Lopez, magpapasama raw siya ng companion sa kanyang silid. Ang sagot po natin, okay, pwede kasamahan ng isang miyembro ng pamilya mo. Gusto raw po Attorney Lopez ng additional security personnel. Pinagbigyan din. May request pa si Attorney Lopez, pwede raw po ba ang personal physician niya na bumisita sa kanyang araw-araw? Sabi po natin, okay, sundin lang po ang guidelines ng ating Office of the Sergeant at Arms dahil ang opisina nila ang umaasikaso sa seguridad sa loob ng Batasang Complex. Kahit na hindi visiting day ang Sunday, nung nag-request po si Attorney Lopez na payagan ang council at OBP staff niya na bisitahin siya, hindi po natin tinanggihan ito. Ngunit nilagay nila sa security risk ang buong Kongreso sa pagpupumilit Presidente na manirahan sa loob. May notice tayong natanggap noong Biyernes, mag-walking exercise raw si Vice Presidente sa loob ng Batasang Complex. Bandang hapon ng November 22, siguro noong naging malinaw sa OSAA na mananatili ulit ang Vice Presidente sa loob ng Batasan for that night, nakatanggap po ang ating committee ng report mula sa OSAA reiterating that the continued the Vice President in the House of Representative Complex has disrupted its normal operations and has jeopardized security. Dahil po sa urgency ng concern ng OSAA, nagpatawag ako ng special meeting of the committee in accordance with Section 37 of the Rules of House of Representatives, which states that special meetings may be held by the committee, which may be called by the chairperson or by 1/4 of all its members, provided that the members shall be notified in writing or through electronic mail or instant messaging indicating therein the date, time, place, and agenda of the meeting. Sa special meeting na yon, this committee unanimously resolved to transfer Attorney Lopez from the House of Representatives Detention Center to the Women's Correctional Facility in Mandaluyong. Para sa hindi pamilyar sa ating rules, nakasaad po sa Section 11 na nasa discretion po ng committee kung saan i-detain ang isang tao na nahaltulan ng contempt. The rule states that upon order of the committee, a person cited in contempt shall be detained in such place as the chairperson or acting chairperson may designate. Sa tanong kung bakit napagdesisyonan ito at ng committee na ilipat si Attorney Lopez, ang primary consideration po rito ay ang seguridad ng complex and to alleviate the strain caused to the staff by the continued presence of the Vice President and her contingent sa loob ng complex. Lalong-lalo na po ang mga security natin sa OSAA. May breach of security protocols and guidelines of the House of Representatives on the conduct of visits to detained individuals. Kahit na ilang beses po tayo nanawagan sa Vice Presidente, patuloy pa rin po ang kanyang disregard and brazen non-compliance of the office orders prohibiting visitors from staying overnight in the premises of the House of Representatives. Today po sa hearing na ito, ni-request ko rin po ang Sergeant at Arms, retired PM General Taas, to be present and report on what really transpired sa transfer kay Attorney Lopez. Pero wag nating kalimutan na hanggang ngayon ay wala tayong natatanggap na malinaw na paliwanag kung bakit binudol ang mga kawani ng AFP na maglabas ng mga sertifikasyon na gagamitin pala ng DepEd sa pag-justify ng kanilang paggamit ng confidential funds. Kahit na wala namang natatanggap na pera ang AFP mula sa DepEd confidential funds. At oo, isang misteryoso pa rin para sa taong bayan ang pagkatao nitong si Mary Grace Piatos. Sa bawat pagdinig po natin, patong-patong po ang mga natutuklasang kababalaghan sa nangyayari sa 612.5 million na confidential funds ng OBP at DepEd. At panawagan ko po sa taong bayan na huwag po natin hayaan na ibaon ang ating mga katanungan gamit ang mga diversionary tactics. Now we continue our legislative inquiry on the matter so we may ask the most important question. Ang importante po sa tanong, saan po talaga napunta ang 612.5 million pesos na pera ng bayan? Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chairman,
Congressman Defensor.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can we confirm pang-ilang hearing na po ito ng Committee on Good Government?
Ang pito na po to ngayon.
This is the 7th hearing of the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability. Mr. Chairman, will you agree with me if I said that if only all the resource persons attended and told the truth, it would take this committee only one hearing to conclude its inquiry on what happened to the funds of DepEd and OVP. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
I totally agree, Congressman Defensor.
Mr. Chairman, tama rin po bang sabihin na kung naipaliwanag lang ng mga resource person ng mabuti kung ano ang ginawa higit 600 million na intelligence and confidential funds, instead of evading and not attending, ay may closure na sana at hindi na humaba ng ganito ang ating hearing at hindi na karoon ng ganitong insidente. Tama po ba, Mr. Chairman?
Tama po.
Thank you, Chairman. I hope that this serves as an example na kung hindi sila dumadalo, lalo pang tatagal at hindi po titigil ng committee ito sa paghahanap ng katotohanan kung ano ang ginawa nila sa pondo ng bayan.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr.
I now call on the committee secretary to provide the committee an update on the invitations, requests, correspondences, submissions, and compliance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Prior to that, may I recognize Honorable Raul Daniel A. Manuel from Kabataan Party List, Honorable Christopher Son M. Yap from the 2nd District of Southern Leyte. Present with us today is Ms. Cholita Tiong, Director for Finance from DepEd, Ms. Annalyn M. Sevilla, Undersecretary for DepEd, Ms. Yaruna Catalan, Chief Accountant of the Department of Education. Your Honor, may I also call on the legal counsel for another legal counsel for Mr. Tenido and Ms. Rabago to please enter his appearance, Attorney Ino. Not present. Thank you, Your Honor. Moving on, Your Honor, we have here some of the resource persons sent their excuse letters. For Attorney Zulaika, she is not present today. However, she is confined in the Veterans Medical Memorial Center. May I read the contents of her letter?
Yes, please, Comsec.
Okay. Your Honor, she wrote, I write in the matter of, this is a letter dated November 24, 2024. I write in the matter of privileged speech and the motu proprio inquiry, specific relation to the subpoena ad testificandum scheduled for November 25, 2024 at morning. As you may have been made aware yesterday, November 23, 2024, I was admitted and confined in the Veterans Memorial Medical Center and was subsequently diagnosed with acute stress disorder following the series of incidents leading to my eventual transfer to the said government facility. In connection with the same, I am sincerely and humbly hoping for the kind consideration of this honorable committee in excusing my appearance for tomorrow's hearing. I have attached here with a copy of the certificate of confinement dated November 2024, issued by VMMC. Thank you. Signed by Attorney Zulati Lopez. On the second page, Your Honor, there's a certificate of confinement. It's signed Dr. Eloy Saez de Guia, Dr. Attorney Mario L. De Castro, Dr. Joan Perez Rifarael, and Dr. Maria Antoinette Gabua. It states that she is being managed for acute stress disorder after presenting with difficulty in sleeping, anxiety, and intrusive symptoms in the form of nightmares, flashbacks, avoidance, alongside with the diagnosis of musculoskeletal strain of both shoulders to consider chronic adhesive capsulitis, spinal asymmetry of the thoracic spine, lumbar spondylosis, and after presenting with shoulder pain with limited range of motion back pain. This certification is issued at the request of the patient and is not intended for use in any medical legal context of proceedings, Your Honor.
Thank you.
For Your Honor, yes. For the actions, Your Honor, there are 5 actions from the previous hearing. We have the subpoena duces tecum for the COA to submit the documents on the Davao City confidential funds. They asked for 5 calendar days for compliance due to voluminous documents, Your Honor. There was also a request for the submission of the acknowledgement receipts, voluminous in amount, to the NBI for forensic examination of handwriting and signatures, and to the PSA for verification of the existence of the names. It is being requested, Your Honor, in process. As to the detention order and contempt order, we have with us here present Mr. Ortonio, Attorney Fajarda, Mr. Fajarda, and Ms. Acosta. As to the submission of the OVP of the special order to the SDOs to attend the programs of the OVP in the various satellite offices, others were not present in the previous hearing, and to submit the program activity by said SDOs, none has been submitted. None have been submitted to the Secretariat, Your Honor. As to the show cause order of Attorney Rosel and Abella, she submitted the certificate of appearance issued by Makati RTC Branch 60 on the said date, Your Honors. That's it for the administrative matters.
Is Attorney Abella present?
No, Your Honor.
She's still absent?
No, not present today, Your Honor. Not I'm aware of. Can you please take your seat, ma'am? I would like to recognize the presence of Attorney Rosella, Counsel of the Office of the Vice President.
Thank you. The Chair would like to recognize the Honorable Senior Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Don Gonzales.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr.
Congressman Luistro, you're
Chair, may I
recognized.
just inquire whether the 3 others who were separated from the DepEd, along with Yusek Mercado, were invited for today's hearing?
Your Honor, DepEd provided us with the electronic mail address of Attorney Brade De Castro. We sent an invitation. However, for Attorney Ablan and Mr. Arnoco, we coursed it through the DepEd. No information as to how we will give it to them, Your Honor.
I respectfully move, Mr. Chair, that we continue on inviting these source persons, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Comsec, please take note of the manifestation of the Honorable Jinky Luistro. Congressman Mika? Okay, Congressman, with the indulgence of Congressman Mika, the chair would like to recognize Congressman Dan Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just looking at the certificate of confinement, Attorney Zuleika Lopez. I'm just wondering if the doctors will have certified this certification are around.
Check, may you know if the doctor or doctors are present this hearing from Veterans Medical Center.
Okay. No, Your Honor.
Or anybody from our medical doctors or medical team who can answer some query from this representation.
I think the Sergeant at Arms. Pardon me, Secretary General. The
Maybe our
MDS
in-house doctor.
Because as
Can we invite
the reason,
the-
Mr. Chairman, that I wanted to ask this was she is being managed for acute stress disorder. So meaning if this is a acute stress disorder, this is short-term mental condition. And basically, itong gantong klase na mga sakit ay hindi masyadong mahabang proseso, as I believe on this diagnosis. That's the reason why this representation wanted to ask any medical doctor to confirm to us yung pong yung diagnosis sa kanya. Papunta na.
Check.
Para at least we can find out no kung hanggang will be handled on this diagnosis.
currently requesting the presence of MDS personnel, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. Sige, I will be asking them in a while,
Later.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, can I also
Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, you are
recognize,
recognized.
maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, nakasulat din po dito sa Certificate of Confinement na pinirmahan ng isa, dalawa, tatlo na doktor mula sa Veterans Memorial Medical Center. If I may read, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please continue.
This is to certify that attorneys Laika Tanglao Lopez, a 50-year-old female patient, is currently admitted at our institution. She is being managed for acute stress disorder after presenting with difficulty in sleeping, anxiety, and intrusive symptoms in the form of nightmares, flashbacks, and avoidance alongside a diagnosis of musculoskeletal strain on both shoulders. Consider chronic adhesive capsulitis, spinal asymmetry of the thoracic spine, lumbar spondylosis after presenting with shoulder pain with limited range of motion and back pain. This certification is issued at the request of the patient and is not intended for use in any medical, legal context or proceedings. The reason why I read this, Mr. Chair, is totoo po na meron po siyang certificate of confinement. Kaso lang hindi po naman po sinasabi dito ng kanyang mga doktor na hindi po siya physically
by the window was at 12:10 a.m., where a few minutes after, Attorney Litogo, OBP counsel, arrived at the house detention facility. BP Duterte and Attorney Lopez held an online press conference via Zoom at 1 a.m. at the House Detention Center. This was done without the permission of the House. while this was going on, the Sergeant-at-Arms requested for the ambulance from the PNP, and the ambulance arrived at 2:59 a.m. This is to ensure the secured transport of the patient. The PNP ambulance exited Southgate at 3:08 a.m., escorted by the SAA LSB officials and PSPG patrol cars. On board the LSB patrol are the following LSB personnel: Melvin Beltia, Jokno Tuquero, and Miss Angeline Joy Gimasad, headed for Veterans Memorial Hospital. At 3:45 a.m., Attorney Lopez was reported to be in stable condition as per report from the LSB team, Miss Gumisad, and per assessment of the doctors from the Veterans Memorial Hospital. BP instigated the transfer of Attorney Lopez to St. Luke's Medical Center at Quezon City. The convoy arrived at the St. Luke's Medical Center, Quezon City at 5:44 a.m. Attorney Lopez was discharged at 8:58 a.m. and based on the order of the Secretary General, she was transferred back to the Veterans Memorial Hospital at 12:42 p.m. Attorney Lopez is now confined at the Veterans Memorial Hospital and will stay there while awaiting the medical evaluation from the Veterans Memorial Hospital doctors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sec-Gen. Yes, Congresswoman Mika Swansing.
Before I propound questions, will our Sergeant at Arms also have a report or to my questions, Mr. Chair?
You can proceed with your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. May I first direct my questions to our Sergeant at Arms? Saa, isa po sa mga pinakamabigat na parata ni Yusek Lopez doon po sa kanyang press conference ay yung pakiramdam niya po ay merong banta sa kanyang buhay. Let me quote several of her Mr. Chair, in her press conference. Quote, "I would not push that bed myself if I did not feel that I was being threatened. My life was being threatened." Another quote, "You saw in the hearing that my back hurts. I cannot lift. Pero dahil natakot ako, I feared for my life. I really pushed that by myself. harassment. This is really a threat to my life. They gang up on you in the middle of the night. Isn't that a threat to my life? And the last po is, and they bring 10 people to serve you in the middle of the night in my pajamas. This is a threat to my life. It's not harassment. So, I would like to dissect the events of that evening. Para po malinawan tayo, bakit kaya nasabi po yon ni Yusek Lopez. So she asserted several times that many people, quote, barged into the detention room at around midnight to serve the transfer order. Her descriptions differ all throughout her press con. Hindi po siya consistent. Paminsan sinasabi niya siyam, paminsan 10. Meron pong time nung kinorner siya ulit ng media na ilan po ba talaga. Ang sabi niya, hindi ko alam nga kung 9. Basta alam ko they're more than me. They're more than myself. Ganun po yung sinabi niya. So I have a few questions po, Saa. First is, what is the for serving a transfer order? Ano po ba yung protocol natin? Ano po yung procedures natin? And sino po yung nagsaserve ng transfer order, Mr. Chair?
The Chair would like to recognize the Sergeant at Arms, Napoleon Taas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ang protocol po natin is actually ang mga nakuha kong mga question is ano yung oras? Meron po bang tinakdang oras para i-implement po yung ano? Ano yung mga nakuha ko na nakarating sa akin ng mga text na questioning yung protocol. At ang sinabi ko nga po is wala hong specific na protocol as to the time. Ang practice po natin for the past 2 years that I've been Sergeant at Arms, every time po na merong komite ay mabilis po nating pinatutupad. Of course, consistent po doon sa kompleto yung aming logistics. Diyan po yung tao at ready po yung lugar na paglalagyan. So yun lang po yung protocol na aming pinatutupad. Yun naman pong kung gaano karaming tao, common sense naman po yun. Ang mahigpit lang po nating sinisiguro ay yung safety and security nung nung detainee. From the time we serve until the time we effectively transferred her or them to the destination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, if I may
Yes,
ask
Congresswoman
po,
Mika.
sino po yung bumuo ng grupo na pumasok po doon sa kwarto para po i-serve yung transfer order? Ano po yung composition ng grupo?
Maraming salamat po. I hope maintindihan po ng komite, Mr. Chairman, na
Please continue.
spread too thinly na po ang LSB dahil nga po sa presensya ng ating pangalawang Pangulo. So, minabuti ko pong ako mismo ang nag-set up po nung mga teams na mag-i-implement transfer order. So basically, lahat po nung hindi naka-deploy sa ating mga gates, lahat po yun ay na-deploy. Ako ho ang nagbuo nung team na 5 lang po ang miyembro nung team na yon. Na magse-serve. Meron po tayong team na in charge ng convoy. Meron po tayong team na in charge ng crowd control kung sakali nga pong magkakaroon ng komosyon. At meron din po tayong team ng magsisecure dun sa magdadala na lugar na nagko-communicate directly. Na nakuha naman po natin yung sagot na meron nung available na detention facility doon sa women's correctional. So ako po ma'am, ang personal na nag-set up at nag-identify kung sino ho yung magpo-form nung magse-serve nung transfer order. Madam, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, if I may ask the
Yes.
follow-up question.
Congresswoman Mika.
Ilang tao po yung pumasok doon po sa kwarto? Ilan po yung pumunta doon sa detention para po i-serve yung transfer order, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chairman,
Please continue.
if I may. Maganda po at yung committee po ay sa pinangalagaan din at tinulungan ng ating Sergeant at Arms at siniguro na dokumentado yung amin pong pag-serve. At meron po kaming, aside from yung existing natin na CCTV, ay sa kaming backup na videographer para nga po ipakita talaga kung ano mangyari. At makikita nyo po, our CCTV and the videos will bear us out. 4 lang ho yung taong pumasok at 3 ang babae at nasa likod ho yung isang abogado na lalaki. So 4 lamang po. And if you will, andyan po si ating COMSEC. If they want to look at the video.
Please present the video, Comsec. May
Mr.
volume
Chair,
po ba?
Opo.
May volume?
May audio po ba sa yung...
Wala pong audio ma'am ang ating CCTV.
Mr.
please
Chair,
proceed.
isa lang po ba yung footage? Meron pa po bang gustong ipakita sa SAA? Meron pa po bang
Ilang
subsequent
video footages po yan?
Ito po nakita nyo ngayon, Mr. Chairman, is galing po sa ating CCTV. Meron pa po tayong pumasok sa loob na at makikita nga po doon na kausap na nung nag-serve na 3 babae, si Attorney Lopez. Pa po kung
Please.
available, Mr. Chairman.
Honor. We're just having difficulty with the audio.
Mr. Chair, if the
Congresswoman
COMSEC would
Swansing.
be able to replay the videos with the audio, that might be critical to the discussion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Your Honor, we're already doing something about the technical difficulty, Your Honor. There's an audio.
Mr. Chair, before I proceed, any more videos po, Saa? Or can we proceed with the
As far as
questioning?
wala na pong ibang pumasok, ibang pagkakataon na pumasok po yung doon sa loob ng opisina ni Attorney Lopez. Nakita nyo, marami na ho yung mas
Detention
madalas
center.
tatlo, Mr. Chairman.
Detention center, not office.
Opo. Mr. Chair, if I may, tama po ba yung nakita? Nung pumasok po, nakita natin napakakalmado kasi po ang description po ni Attorney Lopez, ni Yusek Zulaika, doon po sa kanyang press daw yung ganun yung motion niya when she was talking about how they knocked. So mukha pong kitang-kita dun sa pinakaunang video, napaka-gentle nga po nung pag-knock nung LSB personnel. So siguro po yun po yung una. Second po, in terms of using the word barge, that did not seem to me like barging in. Kasi po, nung binuksan po yung pinto, konti pa nga pong sumilip yung pong LSB personnel, Mr. Chair. The third thing that I spotted po is may ilaw pala doon sa kwarto. So parang it seemed like a matter of choice when they conducted the press conferences in the dark. So mukhang sila po yung pumili na patayin po yung ilaw doon sa press con. Pang-apat po na gusto kong i-highlight doon sa video, kung bibilangin ko po, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to request for SAAS
Second. Mr. Chairman.
Congresswoman
Chair.
Swansing.
Mr. Chair, siguro po, kung titignan po natin doon sa timeline noong press con at saka nung pagtawag nila ng medical emergency, parang meron po kasing parang 2-hour gap. So siguro, Mr. Chair, tanungin ko lang po, ano po ba ang nangyayari doon po sa labas ng kwarto? may komosyon po ba? Wala po ba masyadong tao doon? Sino po yung nasa labas? Noong kwarto, doon po, nung mga panahon po yon, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Please continue, Saa.
I believe, again, the video will bear us out. As per our policy po, wala naman nung kailangan na nakatayo na security rin sa may pintuan kung pagkaho nakalock. So wala ho akong nakikita magiging dahilan para maging panggagalingan ng takot ng mga nasa loob. Wala po tayo yung tao na nandun. At tinayagan ho natin sila na puro tao ho ng OVP. Ang nakalapit, noon nga pong nakakarinig tayo ng, although hindi pa natin confirm nung umpisa, na nahihirapan daw hong huminga. Si Atty. Lopez. So ang mga tao ho doon, tao ho ng OVP. At hindi po yung security natin.
So, Mr. Chair, kung sa buong oras po na yon, puro mga tao lang na OVP yung nasa labas, wala naman po sigurong dahilan ako po ay mag-agree kay Saa. Wala naman po sigurong dahilan para matakot sila na papasukin sila ng mga sarili nilang tao doon po sa loob ng kwarto. So, Mr. Chair, I was informed by the COMSEC, the video is now ready with the audio.
COMSEC?
Pwede po tayo magbukas ng ilaw? Sige po. Kailangan pa naman mag-row. Or what?
Pakilakas po yung volume.
Mr. Chair, may narinig yata ako, very faint yung audio. Pero tama po ba, may narinig ako na gusto niyo po bang magsuot ng robe niyo? No? Or what? Yun po yata yung... Tapos mukha naman pong napakamalumanay nung boses. Pero para po, in the interest of time, Mr. Chair, sige po.
Oh, ma'am. Good evening. Ayan. Pwede po tayo magbukas ng ilaw? Si ma'am po. Kailangan pa naman mag-robe or what? Ma'am, good evening po.
Yun, Mr. Chair. So, yun po, mukhang kita naman po to verify the manifestations of our Sergeant at Arms a while ago. Very kalmado, napakakalmado po nung sitwasyon. Nagtanong pa nga po si ma'am, baka po gusto niyong mag-robe. So, ibig sabihin po, iniisip pa po nung nag-deliver ng order yung sitwasyon ba kung kailangan niya magtakip, kung nakapajamas nga po talaga siya, Mr. Chair. So, thank you, Comsec, for bringing that up. Mr. Chair, siguro po, nakita ko po dun sa isang video, parang yung pangalawa po yata, nung pumasok na sila sa loob. Nandun po yata yung pag-surrender nung cellphone. Kasi naalala ko po, yun po yung isa sa mga naging issue ko, no? Dito po sa sitwasyon na yon, ninakaw daw, forcibly taken yung kanilang mga cellphone. Kaya, Mr. Chair, if I may quickly request the COMSEC to please play that second video, yung pumasok po sa kwarto tapos tinurn over po yung cellphone.
Comsec?
Kung hindi naman po, Mr. Chair, kung matatagal, ayan po, sige po.
May volume po yun.
Perhaps a few minutes that they have to call their lawyer and eventually the lawyer to travel and enter the Batasan, even if he's nearby. I think the time that he finally arrived at 10:25 is consistent with the timing. The lawyer, again, our video will bear us out that we allowed attorney Lito go at 11:25, 12:25. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Access to his client.
So, Mr. Chair, dalawa po yung naging abogado ni Yusek Lopez nung gabi na yon. Tama po ba?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, just one last issue to cover before I end my questioning. Yung issue po ng medical access at saka yung ambulansya po. Kasi isa po sa mga sinasabi nila na parang naghihinalo na daw yung tao, nagsastruggle na, higit 2 oras daw pinaghintay ko, no? Bago po bigyan ng ambulansya, bago bigyan ng access sa doktor. So siguro, Mr. Chair, in the press conference, they kept on flashing that little thumbnail wherein there was an ambulance waiting outside of our south gate. And allegedly, they were saying that the house was refusing entry. So siguro, Mr. Chair, siguro yung isa ko lang na napansin doon, medyo nakakalito lang kasi nandun na yung ambulansya, pero si Yusek Lopez nagpe-press con. So parang kung merong immediate medical emergency, siguro she wouldn't be in the state to actually conduct a press conference. So siguro, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask Orsaa, ano po ba yung ambulansya na dumating ng alauna ng madaling araw habang nagpe-press con po si Yusek Lopez?
Sa
Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, ambulansya po ng Diliman Doctors yung dumating and wala naman sanang problemang makapasok yon. First, kung talaga hong confirm na merong medical emergency. But then again, vehicle ho yun na hindi organic sa House of Representatives. So it has to be approved by the Secretary General, yung access po nun. Hindi pa po namin alam dahil wala ho tayong tao doon sa kwarto ni Atty. Lopez kung talagang legit yung nararamdaman, yung reklamo. So in touch naman ho tayo through the protocol officers. At nung makumpirma nga ho natin na meron talagang medical emergency at hinintay po ho natin yung approval ni SecGen sa entry nung ambulansya nila, which is a requirement on my part dahil nakatali ho yung kamay ko, yung doktor po ang pinapasok natin, yung doktor na nasa loob ng ambulansya para ho ma-check si Atty. Lopez. And at the same time, we requested the Philippine National Police na magpadala ng ambulansya, which I know is about 15 to 20 minutes. Bakit po ma'am yung ambulansya ng Philippine National Police? Kailangan po siyang ilabas, I'm sure, kung talaga ho merong medical emergency. And pagka ho ambulansya ng Philippine National Police, wala na hong problema ang Sergeant at Arms na i-secure pa yung motorcade. Dahil wala na po akong tao ma'am na kaya ko pang mag-secure doon sa may sakit na paghatid sa kanya sa ospital. Yun lang po yung dahilan. At nakita niyo naman po, mukhang tama naman po yung mga naging desisyon namin at wala naman pong malubhang nangyari kay Atty. Lopez.
So, Mr. Chair, base po sa sinasabi ni Saa, tumawag sila ng ambulansya ng alauna ng madaling araw kahit walang medical emergency. So, ano po yun? Nakaabang lang? Siguro yung tanong ko na is it for, ano po ba, appearances? Yun po siguro, ano po yung dahilan kung bakit sa tumawag ng alauna ng madaling araw? Dahil po, base po sa report ni Saa at ni SecGen, mga 2:30 pasado, 2:30 na po ng madaling araw, nung nagkaroon ng tunay na request para po dahil meron na daw pong sinasabing medical emergency. At sinasabi nga din po ni SAA na nung nagkaroon na ng tunay na medical emergency at nag-request po sila ng ambulansya, within 15 to 20 minutes po, dumating po yung ambulansya. So, Mr. Chair, just wanted to ask SAA and SecGen. So wala pong kahit anong level na nag-deny o nag-delay po tayo ng medical treatment kay Yusek Lopez.
Wala po, kaya nga ako yung pinakahuling order ko po ay ilipat talaga sa veterans. Kasi po St. Luke's is a private hospital. Sa veterans sa government facility. So medyo may link tayo with them, no? Kung ano man sabihin ng mga doktor doon, at least from the government point of view. Kaya po finally, in-order ko na nung tanghali, ilipat na siya from St. Luke's para makita talaga natin yung real medical condition niya.
Mr. Chair, siguro po, ang tanong ko lang po kay SecGen, sa kahabaan po ng panahon na nandun siya sa detention facility, were there any measures on the part of the House to ensure her medical well-being? Meron po bang check-ups from time to time? Kasi sinasabi niya po ng press conference, they know I'm sick, they know I'm sick. So siguro po, tanongin lang po natin doon po sa 3 araw bago po nangyari yung insidente na to, meron po ba tayong pinapadala ng mga doktor? Pinapa-check up po ba natin si Yusek Lopez?
Mr. Chairman, in fact, hindi po tayo nagkulang doon. No? May medical team naka-standby doon. Morning, noontime, and afternoon, late afternoon, mine-measure yung vitals niya. But there was a point in time, ayaw niya nang magpa-measure. Gusto niya daw, doktor niya. So, yun po yung naging problema natin eh. Pero as far as we're concerned, hindi po tayo nagkulang. Pirming nandun po may medical team, minomonitor yun. And this applies to all detainees, hindi lang po sa kanya. Lahat po ng detainees dito sa custodial center, meron pong medical team, mini-measure yung vitals nila. Blood pressure, yung heartbeat, mga ganyan. Yung mga simple test lang po. Kaya lang, pag meron pong kondisyon na hindi ma-measure nung equipment natin at nung doktor, nire-recommend po nung medical team na dalhin sa hospital for further test. Yan na po nangyari kay Attorney Lopez, no? Since ayaw niya magpatingin dito sa mga doktor dito, at yun nga, hinimatay, nagsuka nung madaling araw, doon na po dinala natin sa hospital. Tapos by noon time, I decided doon sa veterans para mas confident tayo doon sa mga findings kaysa doon sa St. Luke's.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Those are all of my questions po. Sana po malinaw po sa talakayan po natin ngayong umaga na malinaw at kalmado po yung pag-serve ng transfer order. Wala pong barging in na naganap, wala pong komosyon, wala pong pagnakaw ng cellphone na naganap, wala pong pagpipigil ng access sa abogado, wala pong wala pong attempts na i-break down yung pinto, nabigyan po siya ng access sa medical personnel at medical services sa kahabaan ng kanya pong pamamalagi sa ating detention facility, Mr. Chair. Siguro po napakabigat po kasi nung paratang na ibinato ni Yusek Lopez na naramdaman niya po na parang may pagbabanta sa kanyang buhay. Hinaras siya, trineten po siya. So sana po, Mr. Chair, sa pamamagitan po ng ating talakayan ngayong umaga, naging malinaw po na trinato po ng mabuti ng ating LSB, ng mga tao dito po sa House of Representatives, si Yusek Zulaika Lopez, sa kanya pong pamamalagi dito, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Congresswoman
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Swansing. The Honorable Kong Hoon is recognized.
Dalawang katanungan lang po, Mr. Chair. Sergeant at Arms, Osaa. Osaa. Mr. Chairman, pwede ko po bang i-direct ang aking katanungan sa Osaa?
Please continue.
Sa ating Sergeant at Arms, napanood po natin yung mga statement na binitawan po ng ating Vice President, pati po ni Attorney Lopez. At nakita po natin yung kaibahan ng istorya. Tingin po ba ninyo, Osaa, merong deliberate o pananadya na intensyon na baguhin ang istorya kung ano talaga ang nangyari nung gabi na yon para makakuha ng simpatya at pagmukaing masama ang komite at ang Kongreso?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you are recognized.
Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, maraming salamat po sa inyong katanungan. Ipagpaumanin niyo po at hindi ko ho napanood kahit na andin doon sa mga video na sinasabi ninyo na taliwas doon sa nangyari talaga ang sinasabi ng pangalawang Pangulo. Subalit, yun nga ho yung siniguro ng komite at saka ho namin na kaya namin protektahan at kaya namin patunayan yung totoong pangyayari para nga po hindi kami masabihan na iba yung galaw namin dan dun sa sinasabi nila nangyari. So we have all the video, we have all the proof, Mr. Chairman, to show na hindi po wala pong violation na nangyari doon sa buong period na yun.
So, hindi po totoo na nananganib ang buhay ni Attorney Zulaika na may sinasabing may attempted homicide sa kanyang buhay na nangyari noong panahon na siya ay nakadetine dito sa Kongreso?
Mr. Chairman, kung meron man hong mga nganib ang buhay noon, miski po tayo ngayon na nandito, responsibilidad po ng Sergeant at Arms yung mga mangyayari na ganun. So, noong mga oras na yon, I am on top of the situation. Sinisiguro ko pong walang mangyayari kahit na sino sa ating mga detainee, maging na rin sa ating pangalawang Pangulo.
Maraming salamat po, Chairman.
Thank you. The Honorable Franz Castro is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yun na yung tanong ko sana, yung tungkol doon sa, Mr. Chair, yung attempted homicide.
Before you continue, the Chair would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Vice President, Sara Duterte. Please continue.
Okay, Mr. Chair, so nakita natin yung melodramatic na nangyari noong weekend at nakita natin yung kwento ng ating yung ni SecGen, SAA, tungkol doon sa, Mr. Chair, parang merong problema sa audio, Mr. Chair. At nakita natin, Mr. Chair, na talagang taliwas sa mga napanood natin sa social media, doon sa mga reports, yung totoong nangyari. Hello? Okay. So, Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. As I've said, doon sa mga kwento na napanood natin, sa statement ni BP Sara, at saka sa statement ng COS, ng OVP, so na-realize natin dito, taliwas doon sa kwento nila, yung tunay na pangyayari. Of course, pinatunayan niya nung interpellation ni Representative Swansing at saka ni Congressman Coa&Deped. So, Mr. Chair, in our last session, so just to review, the committee passed my motion to hold Attorney Lopez in contempt under Section 11F of the Rules of Inquiries in Aid of Legislation for undue interference in our proceedings, and resolved to detain her for a period of 5 days instead of 10 days, or maximum of 10 days, as provided for in our Section 12 of the same rule. I must stress also, Mr. Chair, that the totality, just you have said a while ago, the totality of Attorney Lopez's acts and conduct warranted a detention of more than 5 days. Considering the totality of her acts of undue interference to the proceedings of this committee and the Congress as a whole, she not only admitted writing to the COA in order to suppress or prevent the release of documents, but worse, Mr. Chair, she continued to assert her position during our hearing, as well as in prior correspondences that she sent to his committee in refusing to attend our prior hearings. But by virtue of her conduct, the committee was deprived of invaluable information necessary to allow it to perform its role of crafting legislation for the improvement of the country's system of governance and transparency, Mr. Chair. In fact, she only attended when a threat of contempt citation loomed large should she fail to comply again with the subpoena duces tecum, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, in view of the what happened during the last 2 days or so, I would like to consider to move for a reconsideration of our resolution, insofar as it's limited the period of detention for only 5 days. I move, Mr. Chair, that the period of detention of Attorney Lopez be 10 days instead of 5 days. So move, Mr. Chair.
10 days, so additional 5 days, tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, kasi hindi na siya makaka-attend ngayon, ano. Talagang ano, no, so nakita naman natin sa history nung kanyang evasive attitude, behavior, at itong kinreate niya na sinasabi niya na nagpagsisinungaling niya na hindi naman siya hinaras or hindi naman siya na-barge yung room ay kasama na po yan. So yung lahat ng mga pangyayari, Mr. Chair. So I repeat, I move to extend the period of contempt of Attorney Zulaika Lopez, Mr. Chair.
Is there second to the motion?
Mr. Chair,
Congressman Marcoleta.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Before an action may be taken by the committee, may I know how the totality of evidence was evaluated that merited the contempt order by the chair?
Congresswoman Castro.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to
Mr. Chair, may I
I'd like to
answer?
apprise the
Yes,
court,
Congresswoman
Mr. Chair,
Castro.
So,
that in the case
so
of
sino po ang in-acknowledge niyo,
this
recognize,
is,
Mr. Chair?
Congressman
this is a point of
Marcoleta.
information, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. This is
Yes.
something that has to do with the rights
Congressman
of the liberty
Marcoleta.
people. In the court,
Congressman Marcoleta, let us, the chair recognizes
So,
Congresswoman
may I
Castro.
ask, Mr. Chair?
Please proceed, Congresswoman Castro.
Mr. Chair, may I ask the action of the committee first on my motion, Mr. Chair, before we entertain?
We will rule on the
Okay,
motion first.
okay.
Is there any second to the motion?
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized, please?
Duly seconded. Is there any objection?
Mr. Chair,
Hearing none, the motion is
I was
carried.
recognized earlier before any action may be taken by the court, by the chair. Why is it that I am not allowed to speak?
Congressman Marcoleta, there is a pending motion. We just acted
Yes,
on the
but
pending
before
motion
that
first.
motion can be taken up, because this is about the liberty of an individual. May I be heard?
Yes, you will be heard, Congressman Marcoleta, but we just acted on the motion. Now, Congresswoman Castro, please, could you please answer the query of Congressman Marcoleta?
I have not yet asked the question, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
I am
please
trying to
continue.
explain my point.
Please continue, Congressman Marcoleta.
Because in the totality of evidence, as stated by Honorable Castro, there is an existing case, Mr. Chair. Ong versus Senate, GR number 257401, which says that the court ruled that the determination of whether a testimony was false or evasive requires an assessment of the totality of evidence presented to determine whether a witness speaks truthfully or merely trying to evade answering the question directly. So I am asking, Mr. Chair, how was the totality of evidence assessed, if ever it was assessed? Ano po yung pinagbatayan? I think we deserve to know how the assessment was made. This concerns the liberty of an individual. Under the Constitution, no one should be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. I think Attorney Lopez deserves to be heard. Ano po yung assessment na ginawa ng chair o ng committee? Kasi po, ang nabasa ko lang o nakita ko, Mr. Chair, Attorney Lopez wrote the COA explaining the position of the OBP that the audit observation memo is not conclusive, which means, Mr. Chair, Attorney Lopez is merely explaining the nature of an audit observation memo. If I were the lawyer of the OBP, I would have done the same, because I think the very nature of the AOM, it is not final and executory. Why would the COA abdicate its mandate of auditing the transaction or the funds utilization of the OBP? Why would the committee, Mr. Chair, arrogate upon itself the very mandate and responsibility of the Commission on Audit? Article 9D, Section 2, Paragraph 1 of the 1987 Constitution, Mr. Chair, I will read. The Commission on Audit shall have the power, authority, and the duty to examine, audit, and settle all accounts pertaining to the revenue and receipts of and expenditures or uses of funds and property. Mr. Chair, this constitutional provision jibes with Section 25, Paragraph 2 of Presidential Decree 1445 or the State Audit Code of the Philippines, which says, to develop and implement a comprehensive audit program that shall encompass an examination of financial transactions, accounts, and reports, including evaluation of compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Meaning to say, Mr. Chair, the mandate and authority to audit accounts on the expenses or expenditures of government is only the COA. I believe it is my respectful submission, Mr. Chair, that this committee usurped that particular mandate and that will now put the Commission on Audit positions in a compromise, Mr. Chair. How will you now assess the authority, the integrity, and the mandate? It is an independent constitutional body which mandate rests upon them. And I think the audit observation memo, Mr. Chair, is still under process by the committee, by the Commission on Audit. Why would we take that responsibility from the Commission on Audit? Why don't we allow the process to proceed and complete their investigation. I am raising a constitutional issue before this committee, Mr. Chair. We cannot arrogate upon ourselves the principal mandate reposed to the COA. It is the Constitution itself which gave them that responsibility, that authority and mandate. Where in Article 7 of the Philippine Constitution, which is the grant of legislative power, can this committee arrogate upon itself that particular mandate? I would like that question to be answered, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Marcoleta. The Chair would like to recognize the Honorable Congressman Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just to clear it out with regards to the jurisprudence that's cited by the Honorable Marcoleta with regards to Ong versus Senate. That is true, no? That the resolution of the Supreme Court favors Lincoln Ong, but that is a question of due process because Lincoln Ong was that time was cited in contempt. Now, question of the case of
Mr. Chair, I directed
Andale
the
po.
question to you.
I am not yet finished my manifestation or answer to the query of the Honorable Marcoleta. Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Please
Chair,
wait
was
to be
the
recognized,
Honorable...
Congressman Marcoleta,
Mr.
wait to
Chairman.
be recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I have all
Mr.
the right.
Chair,
Paduano, you
the
have this.
question was addressed to...
Congressman Marcoleta, let me first recognize Congressman Paduano.
Before you answer, before you recognize him,
Congressman
I
Marcoleta,
deserve,
you are out of order.
I deserve, Mr. Chair, an answer.
1 minute suspension is declared by the Chair.
Bakit sa'yo?
Committee hearing resumes. The chair would like to
Mr. Chair?
recognize COMSEC.
Your Honor, I would like to recognize Honorable Joseph Jojo Lara from the 3rd District of Cagayan, Honorable Roberto T. Uy Jr., Vice Chairperson from the 1st District of Zamboanga del Norte, Honorable Loreto S. Amante from the 3rd District of Laguna, Honorable Raul Daniel A. Manuel from Kabataan Party List, Deputy Majority Leader Jude A. Asidre from Tingog Party List, Deputy Majority Leader Franz S. Pumaren from the 3rd District of Quezon City, Honorable Daphne A. Lagon from the 6th District of Cebu, Honorable Rhea May A. Gullias from the 1st District of Cebu, Honorable Jaime D. Coa&Deped from the 1st District of Tarlac. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, COMSEC.
Mr.
Before I
Chair?
recognize Congresswoman Franz Castro.
Yeah, so before anything else, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
before you answer the question of Honorable Marcoleta, may I be cleared out po yung sa aking motion? So my motion is on the table. So may I know the decision of the chair?
Tapos na po. Na-declare na
So,
nakapag-act na po ang chair.
Okay, so wala na po tayong ano doon.
Wala na po.
Okay.
There is no pending motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. To answer the question of the Honorable Marcoleta with respect to the totality of acts of Attorney Lopez, the chair already explained it clearly in my opening remarks. And I will repeat, Congressman Marcoleta. While Attorney Lopez presented herself as respectful or courteous, nakita po ng committee na ang kanyang mga sagot at mga pagkilos mula sa mag-umpisa ng inquiry nito ay evasive, uncooperative, and untruthful. Ang suma total at kabuuan ng kanyang mga acts and responses ultimately convinced the committee that Attorney Lopez was guilty of interfering in and frustrating Congress' exercise of its power of legislative inquiry. Halimbawa, isolated incident lang daw ang kanyang pagtanggal kay Yusek Gloria Mercado sa DepEd, subalit napaamin rin siya kalaunan na may mga iba pa siyang mga tinatanggal na opisyal sa DepEd kahit na hindi siya opisyal neto. Paulit-ulit din pong sinabi ni Attorney Lopez na wala siyang alam sa utilization ng Confi Fund ng OBP. Paulit-ulit ito nasagot, subalit may mga dokumento at ebidensya kagaya na lamang ng mga sulat sa COA at testimonya mismo ng iba pa nitong resource persons na nagtuturo kay Attorney Lopez bilang involved hindi lang sa pag-request ng Confi Fund kundi pati na rin sa utilization at liquidation nito. Inamin ni Attorney Lopez na sila ng kanyang assistant COS na si Lemuel Ortonio ang nakalagda sa sulat sa COA patungo sa liquidation ng confidential funds. Inamin niya rin na nag-issue siya ng isa pang sulat na tinatangkang pigilan ng ang COA sa pag-comply sa isang subpoena mula sa kongresong ito. Ilang beses rin po nakatanggap ang komite ng mga iba pang sulat mula kay Attorney Lopez na tumatangging humarap sa komite on the basis of the same grounds na kanyang inilahad sa sulat ng COA. Kung titingnan po ang totality of Attorney Lopez acts, malinaw na mayroong clear, persistent, and willful attempt to interfere, frustrate, and defeat the inquiry undertaken by the committee. At dahil dito ay nahatulan siya ng contempt under Section 11F of our Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation. During the course of the hearing, Attorney Lopez was asked, tinanong po siya, kung sila po ay nagsampa ng kaso dito po sa Supreme Court, dito po sa request ng Kamara para humingi po ng mga dokumento at sinabi po niya ay hindi. Ang act po ng Congress, ito po ay nadesisyonan na noong nakaraang committee hearing at kung meron man pong question sa constitutionality na ginagawa po ng Kamara at any time po pwede po tayong mag-question sa Supreme Court via petition for certiorari. Maraming salamat po, Congressman Marcoleta.
Mr. Chair, yun nga po yung tinatanong ko sa inyo kanina kung paano ginanap yung assessment ng totality of evidence. Sapagkat kung napansin po ninyo, isinama po yung di umano ay pagtatanggal ng ibang kawani ng DepEd na wala yatang, ang pagkakatingin ko po sa mga minutes, ay wala pong due process na pinagtatanggal po sila. Isa po yun yata sa ebidensya na ipinasok ninyo sa totality. Tama po ba?
Isa lamang po yun sa mga
Opo,
napag-usapan po.
gusto ko lamang pong puntuhan
Tama
yun
po.
sapagkat ako po bilang isa, tinanggal po ako sa lahat ng aking committee. Hindi ko man lang po alam kung ano yung kasalanan ko. I was not even informed. The first element of due process is notice. I was not notified. What did I do wrong? Wala po. Pero pinagtatanggal po ako, tinanggap ko naman eh. Pero wala pong due process. Yung po ang gusto kong ipaintindi rin. Pati nga po yung membership ko sa Commission on Appointments na wala namang kinalaman dito sa gawain natin sa Kongreso, tinanggal din po ako ron. Meron po bang due process? Tingnan po ninyo yung ginawa niyang sulat.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, point of order.
What is the point
I
of
think,
order, Congressman
Mr. Chairman, the
Fernandez?
good gentleman is not under investigation in this committee, and we are investigating other matter. If you wanted to be investigated
Mr. Chair,
that matter, I think,
I
Mr. Chairman, this is not
still have
the
the
right point.
floor,
of order
Mr.
is
Chair.
proper.
I still have the floor, Mr.
What is the
Marcoleta.
point of
I'm still-
order?
the point
Congressman
of order.
Marcoleta,
Motion to
please wait to
suspend,
be
Mr.
recognized.
Chair.
1 minute
Pwede
suspension
po
is
bang
declared by the
pigilan
chair.
ng isang nagsasalita?
Mr. Chair, while you are suspended, may we respectfully request that all the employees of the Office of the Vice President sit together so that we can easily confer with each other, because the other employees are quite few seats away from us. So we want to sit together so that we can confer easily with each other. Please, thank you.
Point of order, that's the second highest motion. So he has to respect it, the point of order of,
May I proceed, Mr. Chair?
The point of order is the second highest motion in the House.
Committee hearing resumes.
Mr. Chair,
May I continue, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair,
The point of
Congressman
order...
Acop is recognized.
with the indulgence of the Honorable Marcoleta, Mr. Chair, I think we might as well agree to disagree with one another here bago po tayo magpatuloy. Di po ba?
Yes, I agree, Congressman Acop.
So, we follow our rules. The Honorable Marcoleta is a member of this Congress, so he knows the rules and he is obligated to follow the rules. Otherwise, he'll be declared out of order and be taken out of this room. So, for all of us, members of Congress, let's follow the House rules. That's why they are there, for orderly proceedings. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Acop. We will now proceed to the next item in our agenda. Wala na po
Mr.
tayong...
Chair, respectfully, may I say something?
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Honorable Vice
Mr. Chair.
President, before I recognize you, would you like to take your oath?
Yeah.
I
Mr.
will only
Chair.
recognize you if you will take your oath.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do this.
Please administer the oath of the Honorable Vice President.
Your Honor, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this inquiry, so help you God?
Yes.
The oath has been administered, Your Honors.
Thank you. I will recognize you now,
Okay.
Honorable Vice President.
Yes. Mr. Chair, the position of undersecretary and assistant secretaries and other appointed positions are positions of trust and confidence by the appointing authority. The resignation letters of the USECs and the ASECs of DepEd were accepted by the appointing authority. And who is that? Mr. Chair? The President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Yes.
It is not the Secretary of the Department of Education. So you ask the President of the Republic of the Philippines why he accepted the resignation of the USECs and the ASECs.
What is the point, Honorable Vice President?
Ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, bakit nyo kine-question ang due process? Tanungin nyo ang appointing authority, bakit niya tinanggap ang resignation letter?
Madam Vice President,
Yes, sir.
we will, wala pa po tayo dun sa usapin na yun.
Sa anong usapin,
Later
sir?
later po sa binabanggit po ninyo.
Sa anong
Wala
usap-
pa po tayo sa period of interpellation. Bubuksan ko pa lamang po ang period of interpellation.
Yes, sir. Nandun na kayo sa topic. Hindi po tayo nag-i-interpellation
Madam
ngayon.
Vice President, nag-uusap po muna ang mga miyembro.
Yes,
so,
sir.
please do respect yung
Yes,
mga...
I am very respectful. I am dovetailing from Congressman Marcoleta. The appointing authority is the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Why are you questioning due process in a discussion of resignation of USECs and ASECs?
Wala pa pong nagtatanong about that, Madam Vice President.
Sir, kinontempt nyo
Madam-
na, sir, dinetain nyo na yung tao for due process.
Madam Vice President,
Sir, nasa loob ng detention ang tao because you questioned due process. Asaan ang explanation ng due process ninyo doon? Nasaan?
Madam Vice
Tinanong
President,
kita kanina. I'm sorry, sir. Tinanong kita kanina, sino ang appointing authority? USEC ng ASEC. Anong sagot mo? Secretary. Hindi mo
pa po-
alam.
Hindi pa po ako nagsumasagot.
Hindi mo. Nakita kita, sumagot. Camera. Kita kita sumagot. Sinabi mo, Secretary.
Chairman, motion to
Hindi
suspend
niyo alam
for 5
lahat.
minutes.
1
Na
minute
ang
reset.
nag-a-appoint
One
ay
minute
President.
suspension is declared by the Chair.
Can we observe proper decorum, Mr. Chairman?
Sit with me. Yes. Sir.
Committee hearing resumes.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
May I be allowed?
Yes, Madam Vice
Yes.
President.
You need to reconsider that extension of your detention. It was illegal in the first place. You asked the president why he accepted the resignation. Do not ask due process.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Paduano. Congressman Acop.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice President, if you have any question insofar as the actions of this committee are concerned, I think the proper remedy is for you to go to the court.
Sure, I will go to court.
Opo, pero
Oo,
that is
pero
where-
araw-araw, you are depriving a person of her liberty while I await
That is precisely the point, ma'am.
the...
If our action of detaining your chief of staff is against the law, I think the proper remedy, and I think you're a lawyer,
Yes, sir.
the proper remedy is to go to the court.
Sir, do you really want to show the Filipino people kung anong kaalaman ninyo sa batas?
Ang sinasabi ko lang po ay sundin
Oo.
po natin yung batas
Kaya
dito
nga,
sa
sir,
House.
sundin natin yung
Kasi
batas.
nandito po kayo dito sa bahay ng Kongreso.
Yes, sir. Sundin natin yung batas. Why will you penalize, punish Yusek Lopez for an act of the president?
Madam Vice President, that is the decision of the committee as a whole. Sana po respetuhin po ninyo.
Yes, sir.
Kung meron pong
Okay.
remedy, alam naman po ninyo bilang abogado na tama po yung sinasabi ni Congressman Acop, pwede po tayong mag-file ng relief sa court.
Okay, sige, sir. Tinutulungan ko lang kayo, sir, kasi napapahiya ang Pilipinas. Ganito ba ang House of Representatives? Tinutulungan ko lang kayo.
Maraming salamat po, Madam Vice President.
With all due respect,
Yes,
Mr. Chair.
Congressman
Mr. Chair, I move that we
Deputy
strike
Speaker
out. Yeah, I move that we
Suarez.
strike out that last comment said about the House of Representatives. I don't think that is warranted. Neither is it fair to make statements such as that. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may
Congressman
we
Dan
remind all the
Fernandez.
resource persons to address the chairman kasi nakakawala po ng respeto sa committee na to kung hindi po natin i-address ang chairman. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We will now continue to the next item in our agenda. We will now proceed to the interpellation proper. The first to interpolate is the Honorable Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I ask Mr. Edward Pafarda? Mr. Pafarda, you were the special disbursing officer during the period when Vice President Sara Duterte was the Secretary of DepEd.
Your Honor, Mr.
Edward Pafarda, you're recognized.
Chair. Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I confirm.
Thank you. Would you also confirm the 3 land bank checks, each amounting to 37.5 million, were issued to you as payee and were encashed by you? Would you confirm that?
Mr. Pafarda, you are recognized.
Your Honor, I confirm.
Thank you. And would you also confirm that you certified the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds and in fact issued the corresponding certification? Would you confirm that?
Mr. Chair, pwede pong paulit lang po nung question regarding dun sa issue ng certification.
Congressman Acop, please continue. Please repeat.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Farda, can you, did you certify to the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds, and in fact issued the corresponding certification?
Mr. Chair, wala kaming kakampi dito, walang maka-point of order para sa amin. How can you ask a resource person without
Madam
giving him
Vice-
copies? Without giving him
Mr.
copies?
Chair, point of order,
Madam
Mr.
Vice
Chair.
President, please wait to be recognized.
Give him copies.
Point of order. What's the point of order of the Honorable
Yes,
Castro?
Mr. Chair, Representative Acop is asking our resource person, why is it that the Vice President is batting?
Yes,
Yes, the
ma'am.
point of
No,
order
hindi
is
po
wala
dapat
kaming
ganon.
kakampi
proper.
dito, ma'am.
Pero dapat
Walang
pakinggan muna
One
maka-point
minute
natin.
of
recess declared by the
order.
chair.
Well, point of order.
Session resumes. Please continue, Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I proceed, I would like to ask Coa. Sige. Coa, would you agree that three land bank checks, each amounting to 37.5 million, were issued to Mr. Edward Farda as payee?
Attorney Camora, you are recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And did Mr. Edward Farda certify to the correctness of the liquidation reports on the use of the DepEd confidential funds, and in fact issued the corresponding certification?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And Mr. Fajarda and Madam Acosta also prepared the corresponding accomplishment reports for the use of the DepEd confidential funds? Would that be correct?
Mr. Fajarda, yes, Mr. Chair.
Could you please repeat your answer, Madam?
For Mr. Fajarda for DepEd, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Now, may I know, Mr. Edward Fajarda, si Miss Sunshine po ay asawa po ninyo?
Yes, Your Honor, you're correct.
Yes. And Miss Sunshine Fajarda ay nagtatrabaho rin doon sa office ng Vice President.
During DepEd po, kasama po siya.
Yes, thank you. Now, Mr. Chair, para lang ma-recall po natin, si Miss Sunshine ang pinangalanan ng ating mga resource persons natin nung mga nakaraang hearing na nag-abot ng payola money sa mga empleyado ng DepEd at sinasabi niya na ito ay galing kay Vice President Sara. Bagay na bagay sa kanya ang kanyang pangalan. Talagang sunshine siya dahil paano ba naman hindi iilaw ang mukha mo pag naabutan ka ng pera? Meanwhile, si Mr. Farda naman ang pinapangalan nung nakaraang hearing na nung una ay nagproproseso ng payola money through land bank payroll accounts ng field personnel, pero due to supposed security reasons, hiningi niya ang personal ATM account numbers para doon na lang ipapadala ang payola ng field personnel, effectively bypassing the official documentation of all the transactions. In short, Mr. Farda, kayong mag-asawa ay nagtatrabaho para kay Vice President Sara. Tama po ba?
Mr. Edward Paharda.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Kayo ni Miss Sunshine ay galing sa Davao. Tama rin po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bago kayo nagtrabaho under DepEd with Vice President Sara as the Secretary, si Miss Sunshine ay nagtrabaho for VP Sara nung siya ay mayor ng Davao City. Tama po?
Mr. Paharda.
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, Mr. Farda, lumipat kayo ng Maynila to serve under the office of the Vice President and in DepEd. Tama rin po ba?
Your Honor, yung po kasing asawa ko nasa Manila, so kung ako po ay nasa Davao, so I decided na mag-apply po ako sa DepEd, kaya nagkasama po kami.
Noong si Vice President Sara ay nakabase po sa Davao as the City Vice Mayor, hindi po kayo part ng kanyang staff. Tama rin po ba?
Tama po, Your Honor.
In short, bago kayo naging SDO or Special Disbursing Officer ng DepEd, wala po kayo involvement kay Vice President Sara.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct. Dahil sa inyong asawa, si Miss Sunshine, kayo po ay nakilala ni Vice President Sara. Tama rin po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa makatuwid, tama rin po ba na ang pagiging Special Disbursing Officer ninyo ay ang first job nyo kay Vice President?
Your Honor, Executive Assistant po ako bago po ako naging SDO.
So,
Special
hindi ito
Disbursement.
ang first time na trabaho po ninyo kay Vice President?
Executive Assistant.
Yes. Ang SDO appointment ang SDO ay isang appointment by the head of office. Would you agree with that?
I believe po trust and confidence po.
Oh, pero nag-appoint yung head of office.
Opo.
Thank you. In other words, pinili po kayo ni Vice President na maging Special Disbursing Officer. Tama.
By trust and confidence po.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Chair, as we can see, isa lang ang credential ni Mr. Farda upang siya ay piliin ni Vice President Sara para maging SDO. Ito ay dahil siya ay asawa ni Miss Sunshine. Alam naman natin ang posisyon na SDO requires trust dahil malaki ang funds na involved dito. Sinabi na rin ni Mr. Farda yun. For the case of DepEd, kay Mr. Farda, unang ibinigay ang confidential funds na umaabot ng mahigit 100 milyon. Mr. Farda, are you a regular employee within the meaning of our civil service?
Mr. Chair, executive assistant po is also appointed po ng head of the office of the agency, considered po as a regular employee.
Considered as a regular employee and therefore covered po ng civil service rules. Would you agree?
Mr. Chair, hindi po ako masyadong maalam sa rules po ng civil service. So, can I ask someone?
Kasi if you're a regular employee under our civil service rules, the fact that you are appointed in the DepEd as co-terminus with the Vice President and then Secretary of Education, are you trying to tell this committee that a co-terminus employee would be a regular employee within the meaning of our civil service rules? And if no naman, I think you would also be aware that under a joint circular, a special disbursing officer must be a regular employee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Now the question is, are you or do you consider yourself a regular employee despite your being a coterminous employee?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you are a regular employee. You consider yourself such. Okay. But as a coterminous employee, you serve at the pleasure of your principal. Tama rin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Meaning the principal is the vice president.
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
she can remove you from office at any point in time. Tama rin.
Opo, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, I wish to explore legislation on this matter because an SDO cannot be a coterminous employee. We have to remember that confidential funds, when granted to a civilian agency, is related to the functions of the agency itself. As such, the person handling it must be a career employee, preferably of that agency, so that we are certain where loyalty lies. Not just a coterminous employee where incentives are aligned towards ensuring that the principal is pleased with his or her performance. Do we have a representative of the Bureau of Treasury, Mr. Chair?
Comsec?
Your Honor, Bureau of Treasury was informed belatedly, but they will try their best to appear today, Your Honor.
So they're not present today.
Not present today, Your Honor.
Kasi, Mr. Chair, ang tatanungin ko po sana is tungkol po dun sa fidelity bond. And the representative of the Bureau of Treasury is the appropriate or proper person to explain to us yung fidelity bond vis-a-vis the accountable officer.
Your
Congressman
Honor.
Acop, I think the the representative of Bureau of Treasury is present.
May I please recognize Attorney Jericho Cadorna, OIC for the Complaints and Investigation Division of the Bureau of Treasury, Your Honor.
Nakapag-oath na po ba siya, Comsec?
Previously, in the previous hearings, Your Honor, he has already taken his oath.
Okay. Please take your seat, Attorney Cardona. Please proceed, Congressman Acop.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney, bago i-discuss po natin yung fidelity bond, maaari po ba ninyong explain sa amin o sa committee na ito at saka mga nandito ngayong araw na ito, ano ang accountable officer at sino po ang mga pwedeng maging accountable officers?
Good afternoon, Your Honor, and to the Honorable Committee. Your Honor, to answer the question of Your Honor, as for the Bureau of the Treasury in our fidelity bonding operations, to determine who is an accountable officer, we refer to the requirement of the public bonding law or the definition of the public bonding law as to who is an accountable officer. Section 314 of the public bonding law states that every officer, agent, and employee of the government of the Philippines or of the companies or corporations, the majority of the stock of which is held by the national government shall, whenever the nature of the duties performed by such officer, agent, or employee permits or requires the custody of funds or property for which he is accountable, be deemed a bondable officer. And except as otherwise provided, every such person shall be bonded or bondable and his fidelity insured in accordance with the public bonding law.
With your definition, Attorney, yung bang special disbursement officer ay isa sa mga accountable officers?
As per my knowledge, Your Honor, in the operations of the Bureau of the Treasury, special disbursing officers are one of the officials who are considered bondable because of the fact that they are in custody or in possession of public funds or property. However, admittedly, Your Honor, as far as the legal service of the Bureau of the Treasury is concerned, we often recommend a different evaluation criteria because special disbursing officers are generally only designated additional accountable functions on top of their core functions, which ordinarily does not involve public funds or property, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Attorney. My question was very simple. Ang tanong ko lang po kung ang mga designated special disbursing officers are also accountable officers pursuant to the definition that you have cited to us. Yes or no lang naman po?
Yes, Your Honor, considering that if they are granted or designated additional functions as special disbursing officers, the nature of the duties then would require custody of funds or property, Your Honor.
And therefore, Mr. Edward Pafarda is an accountable officer pursuant to that definition.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, ayon sa ating joint circular, an accountable officer is an officer of the government whose duties permit or require the possession or custody of government funds and property, and who shall be accountable therefore and for the safekeeping thereof in conformity with our laws and regulations. As clearly established by the discussion earlier, Mr. Edward Pafarda is indeed an accountable officer, not only by the fact of his position as SDO, but also by the fact of the confirmation of receipt of confidential funds for DepEd respectively in 2022 and 2023. Now, Attorney, you must be aware of Treasury Circular Number 1-2022 regarding supplemental guidelines on the revised omnibus regulations governing the fidelity bonding of accountable public officers being part of the Bureau of Treasury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, base po sa circular ng Treasury, ano po ang ibig sabihin ng bondable officer? Ito po ba ay nangangaluhugan na may bond na ipinopost para sa kanya?
Yes, Your Honor.
And ano po yung tawag po ninyo doon sa bond na binibigay ng bondable officer?
It is referred to by the Bureau of the Treasury as the Fidelity Bond, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Pwede po bang ipaliwanag niyo po sa amin, sa lahat na nandito, kung ano po ang ibig sabihin ng fidelity bond in layman's terms?
Your Honor, a fidelity bond or the posting of the fidelity bond is an assurance or the commitment of an accountable public officer that he will faithfully discharge and lawfully discharge his duties, particularly his accountable public duties, considering that the accountable public officer is in possession of public funds or property. It is a commitment, Your Honor, that the accountable public official will faithfully and lawfully discharge his or her duties.
Ano po ang purpose? Is that the last statement that you made? Yan po ba ang purpose ng fidelity bond?
Its purpose also, Your Honor, is for the accountable public official for his fidelity to be covered, Your Honor, to be covered by the Fidelity Fund.
Marami pong salamat. Now, bakit kailangan mag-post ng fidelity bond ang isang accountable officer katulad ni Mr. Pafarda?
Your Honor, because the reason being is that because the fidelity bond or a bondable officer is or a bonded officer rather is covered by the Fidelity Fund, the Fidelity Fund maintained in the Bureau of the Treasury shall be available for the purpose of replacing defalcations, shortages, and unrelieved losses in their account, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ngayon, sa Bureau of Treasury, ano po ang ibig sabihin ng public fund?
Allow me to just refer to the
Please.
circular, Your Honor. So
Please, Attorney.
Okay. Yes, Your Honor. I will quote item Q of the definition of terms under Treasury Circular 2-2019 as amended. Public funds shall refer to funds or public monies under the possession, custody, or control of an accountable officer by virtue of his or her official position or designation, which include public monies of every sort, and other financial resources such as cash, instruments, representing or convertible to money, receivables, and the like pertaining to the government agency, Your Honor.
And pursuant to that definition that you have read, ang confidential funds ng DepEd ay kasama sa public funds under the possession, custody, or control of the special disbursing officer, in this case, Mr. Edward Pafarda.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ano po ang liability ng accountable officer katulad ni Mr. Pafarda sa ganitong sitwasyon?
Liability, Your Honor, in
Yeah.
if I may.
Are they accountable sa mga losses dahil sa unlawful deposit, unlawful use, or application of public funds, unlawful application of public funds? Sila po ang accountable?
Yes, Your Honor. If there is unlawful disbursement, considering that the Administrative Code of 1987 states that every accountable officer shall be personally liable for the funds or property in his or her possession, Your Honor.
Liable din sila kahit attributable ang loss sa kanilang negligence sa paghawak po ng mga pondong ito.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Pafarda, having listened to the explanation of the representative of the Bureau of Treasury, are you aware of the magnitude of your accountability as Special Disbursing Officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Let me confirm. Salary grade 17 po kayo, tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
And correct po ba yung aking record ng inyong monthly salary ay around 35,000 to 40,000? Mali po ba yun?
Your Honor, 41,000. Ganyan po malapit, hindi ko lang po alam ang exact figure.
So, malapit dito. Malapit dito sa numerong
Mga
sinabi ko.
40 plus,
Ah.
40 to 50.
Yeah. Kanina, napag-usapan natin with the Bureau of Treasury ang fidelity bond at ang purpose nito. Naintindihan mo naman siguro yung explanation ng representative ng Bureau of Treasury. Nung kayo po ba, Mr. Farda, to minimize the probability of theft or crimes in relation to the confidential funds na inyo pong hawak, ano po yung controls na inilagay po ninyo? Kayo po ba ay hiningan ng proof ng iyong income o properties?
Your Honor, ang tanong po niyo po ba yung as SDO, as an SDO?
Yeah, bilang SDO at may hawak po ng confidential funds, may nilagay po ba kayong controls sa paggamit po nito? Or hiningan po ba kayo o pinag-submit po ba kayo ng iyong income at saka list of properties?
Your Honor, nasa SALN po kasi yan. Meron po yung copy po sa DepEd. Nung nag-apply po ako, naghingi po sila ng SALN.
Hiningi po sa inyo ito at nag-submit naman po kayo?
Opo. Nung nag-apply po ako sa DepEd.
Okay. Now, to the Bureau of Treasury, yung bond fidelity is required when you hold public funds. Tama po.
Yes, Your Honor.
At ang purpose ng fidelity bond ay to ensure against losses, shortages, and defalcation by officers or employees accountable for public funds. Tama rin po.
Yes, Your Honor.
In other words, ito pong mga nakalagay dito ay to ensure na gagamitin po ng tama and for the specified purpose ang public funds. Tama po ba? Dahil kung hindi po ginamit doon for what is intended for, you are violating the law. Would you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, would you also agree with me that the fidelity bond should be equal to the amount of public funds that you would hold being a special disbursing officer? Would that be correct?
Well, I do agree, Your Honor. But that is...
Hindi ko po tinatanong kung nag-agree po kayo. Tama rin po ba according to your rules?
As for the Bureau of the Treasury's rules, Your Honor, admittedly, the coverage of the bond is not equal to the amount of the accountability disclosed. That is the present policy or the existing policy of the Bureau of the Treasury, Your Honor.
Now, may I know the reason why pumayag o nag-agree po kayo sa aking contention? Kasi importante po ito dahil pwedeng baguhin natin yung naandun sa Bureau of Treasury.
Let me preface my answer, Your Honor, by saying that this is just my personal opinion as part of the legal service, and this does not preempt a forthcoming position of the Bureau. But I do agree with the sentiment, Your Honor, because it has the features of an insurance. So therefore, in order for it to fully insure, you could say the fidelity losses should be reimbursed by said insurance. But then again, Your Honor, that is just my personal opinion, and this does not preempt any forthcoming official position of the Bureau, because really the reason why there is a minimization or limit on the bond coverage is to reduce moral hazards, Your Honor, and the fact that there are fiscal implications because presently the Fidelity Fund are with the Bureau of the Treasury. So to reimburse it fully would have fiscal implications, Your Honor.
Kasi, would you agree also na kung sobra naman ang liit ng bond, then wala na pong incentive to use the trusted public fund properly. Will you also agree with that, Attorney?
I would agree with that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Si Mr. Farda ay pinayagan maghawak ng up to 50 million o ang kanyang approved amount of bond. Based on this data, the approved amount of bond is 4 million, while the bond premium is 60,000. Tama rin po ba yun sa inyong mga rules and regulations?
While I do not have the records, actually, Your Honor, because that belongs to the National Capital Region Regional Office, and the invitation was belatedly sent. But if we would refer to the schedule of premium rates, accountability, and bond coverage, if I may ask again, Your Honor, the accountability is for how much, Your Honor?
50 million.
50 million.
That is the approved amount of bond.
50 million, Your Honor, for the bond, Your Honor?
Yeah,
Perhaps accountability, Your Honor.
Yes, the accountability is 50 million. The approved amount of bond is 4 million.
Yes, Your Honor. That would be compliant with the schedule of premium rates under existing Treasury circulars. For minimum cash accountability, ranging from 25 million and 1 peso to 75 million pesos, the amount of bond would be 4 million with a premium to be paid, which is 60,000 pesos.
60,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tama sa rules and regulations po ninyo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, pakipaliwanag po sa amin anong ibig sabihin ng approved amount of bond?
That is basically, Your Honor, the coverage of the Fidelity Fund. If ever there are losses, shortages, and defalcations, that is the maximum amount that can be paid by the Bureau of the Treasury. Whichever is lesser, Your Honor, it could be the amount of loss if it's lesser, or it could be the amount of the bond if it is lesser, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano rin po ba ang bond premium?
It is to be paid, Your Honor, by the agency in order for the bond to be confirmed, or for basically the contract to be binding, Your Honor, that the official is bonded.
Yes. Thank you. In the case of Mr. Farda, hindi po ba maliwanag na ang layo ng approved amount of bond and the bond premium sa amount of accountability po niya? Will you agree with that?
I would agree with that, Your Honor, because such is the present status of the policy, Your Honor.
Yes, yung sitwasyon ba na ito ay tama according to your rules?
According to the rules, Your Honor, it would be correct because that is what is stated under the policy, Your Honor.
So normal.
Per the rules, Your Honor, that would be normal, Your Honor.
Would you agree also with me that if this is the situation, there is no incentive for Mr. Farda to properly use the 50 million? Will you agree with that?
As far as the fidelity bonding operations is concerned, Your Honor, considering that the bond coverage is admittedly very minimal, well, yes, Your Honor, just personal opinion, looking at it with the features of an insurance contract, Your Honor.
We have established a while ago that the salary grade of Mr. Edward Fajarda is only 17 and thus earns around more or less 40,000 a month. Further, he was not asked to show, or he was asked to show properties, but was not, I think he also was asked to provide a financial capacity to cover the accountable amount of 50 million. So, pinipilit ko pong intindihin how could 4 million bond serve as protection for the 50 million public funds entrusted to a person sa inyong departamento. Hindi nyo po ba napag-aralan ito? How would a, 4 million bond serve as a protection for a 50 million public fund entrusted to an SDO?
In that regard, Your Honor, as I was not part of I do not have the knowledge on the wisdom behind the matrix of schedule of premium rates, because since time immemorial, admittedly, Your Honor, it has been this way. It was just added or additional items were just added throughout the years. But I would refer it to our principals, Your Honor, if there's a need for the Bureau's position regarding the matter.
Kaya ako po tinatanong, baka I think there's a need already to amend. Di po ba? Kasi yung amount, wala pa nga 20% nung coverage. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, Coa, can you please walk us through the steps of obtaining confidential funds? Would it be correct that this begins with the disbursement voucher? Madam Coa?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, may I ask? Can the question be repeated?
Thank you. Can you please walk us through the steps of obtaining a confidential obtaining confidential funds? Would it be true that this begins with a disbursement voucher?
Yes, Mr. Chair, from the cash advances, for the cash advance.
Correct. Tama.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, ano po ang purpose ng isang disbursement voucher?
It is to ano po, yung para mag-request nung cash advance, nung amount na gagamitin for the purpose in the DV po.
Okay. Mr. Farda, sa nakaraang mga hearing namin, paulit-ulit pong nababanggit ang inyong pangalan. Sa katunayan, nabanggit din po ang pangalan niyo ni Attorney Michael Powa, spokesperson dati ni Vice President Sara, at dating Chief of Staff sa DepEd. Kilala niyo po ba siya?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. At noong nakaraang hearing, napag-usapan ang confidential funds ng DepEd, pati ang mga YLS